$14.50. That's huge. Need a vehicle today? No worries. At Lamoille Valley Ford, we have by far Vermont's largest selection of new Fords, including over 150 F-Series trucks in stock and incoming.
Woo! So drive Route 14, 15, or 16 to Lamoille Valley Ford in Hardwick and save big during our Ready for Retail sales event.
WDEV at 90 is brought to you in part by New England Municipal Resource Center, NEMRIC, a company that recognizes the value of Vermont and all things local, municipalities, businesses, and WDEV. Two building science experts, over 20 years of combined experience, 1 hour per week. It's House Calls Vermont, back for a second season on WDEV.
Brought to you in part by R.K. Miles, Pauley Construction, and Ken Liddy of the Stowe Area Realty Group at Keller Williams Stowe.
House Calls Vermont, Saturdays at 12:30 on WDEV AM and FM, streaming at WDEVradio.com.
Gary LaVox here from Rascal Flats. Seems like there's never enough time to get done what you have to. It's easy to get wrapped up in work and the busyness of life. But sometimes the people you care about most get the least of your time. As you chase your dreams, don't forget the people that mean the most to you. Your friends, family, kids, or spouse. They need you. It's a good reminder for me, and I hope for you too. This message is brought to you by the U.S. Air Force.
Want Brady to hear your opinion on the sports stories of the day? Text in at 802-585-3026.
This is Freddie Coleman of ESPN, and you're listening to Brady Farkas Show right here on WDEV and WDEVradio.com.
Thank you very much, Freddie. We've got the sound fixed on Facebook Live, so there you go. Crisis averted. Again, I'm no engineer, but I was able to get it done at the commercial break. It is difficult to try to fix things while you're talking live, but we got it done. So welcome back in. Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line's open. Facebook Live is open as well. I am super excited for this weekend sports-wise, right? UVM men's basketball tomorrow afternoon against UMass Lowell, Winter Olympics all weekend. Sunday night, there is a new 30 for 30 that comes out on ESPN. It's called The Tuck Rule. It's about the rise of Tom Brady, the rise of the New England Patriots, the start of the dynasty. I can't believe the Tuck Rule game was 20 years ago this year. It happened back in 2002, and it helped spur on the Patriots and their first Super Bowl win. I was 12 years old. My goodness. Ken Rogers is the director, the co-director of that 30 for 30. He's actually been at NFL Films for a long time. He helped direct the 30 for 30 that came out a couple years ago called The Two Bills on Bill Belichick and Bill Parcells. And Ken Rogers is with us now. So, Ken, thanks for being with us. I'm pumped for the Tuck Rule 30 for 30. How are you?
It's great to be here. What a perfect time for this film. We got snow. We have the end of Brady's career, and this was the beginning of Brady's career. It's all fitting together.
You know, there's some weird synergy here with this week. Did you know Brady was retiring, and that's why this is all coming out now?
Yes, my middle name is Nostradamus, no, but you know, that's part of what this film is about, is how happenstance happens in life and changes the course of everything. You know, for all I knew, Tom Brady would be in another Super Bowl right now. For all I knew, he'd be injured and out for the season. Turns out he's ending his career. I think it's really interesting because, as I said, if you look back and think about that millimeter in that millisecond of the Tuck Rule, that none of that, the entire Tom Brady career, the entire Patriots reign might have happened if not for that millisecond and that millimeter of football.
As I understand it, is it Tom Brady and Charles Woodson sitting down in a room for the whole time rehashing it? Are they just a small part of it? Kind of give us the setup.
Yeah, so we certainly do other interviews. We have Teddy and Willie McGinnis and Troy Brown and Coach Belichick and Robert Kraft and Adam Vinatieri and people interviewed for the film. But the real core of the film is a sit-down between Tom and Charles. And what's amazing about this is they were friends long before this play. They had gone to Michigan together. They arrived their freshman year together. Charles goes in one direction, wins the Heisman, takes the team to a national championship, drafted in the first round. Tom kind of comes out of college on a different path, 199, of course, and, as a backup quarterback, and they meet in this moment, and everything changes. Yet, for the last 20 years, up until we filmed this scene with them, they had never spoken about the tuck rule. So what you see on screen, and the reason why it takes up a good half of the film, is it's a real-time therapy session. It's them trying to deal with the fact that they're friends and they disagree very strongly about this one play that changed their lives. And there's some anger there. There's some defensiveness there. There's some real feelings about how the rule was employed and interpreted. And, it's not just on Charles's part. Tom feels pretty strongly too. And yet by the end, I think they sort of come to peace, as we all must, that, these moments in our lives put us on a path and lead us to where we are, and there's no going back and changing them. You can't go back and if you're Charles Woodson, and say, I want that to change, because as he says, maybe that means he doesn't meet his wife or have his two boys, or you just have to live with these type of things in football and in life.
Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. on ESPN. It's called The Tuck Rule. It's a new 30 for 30, and one of the directors is Ken Rogers. He's with us now on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. One of the things that I'm amazed at on your end is the access to Brady. Brady does media, but he does media mostly on his terms, through his own production company, when he can control the narrative. How did you get him to, one, be a part of it, and two, get him to open up in a way that he doesn't control it from his side of things?
Yeah, he totally. I'm not positive. That it's anything recent. I think when it comes to football players, trust is earned early in their careers. When they're still not the superstars. And I actually did the first interview with Tom Brady for NFL Films, in the middle of the 2001 season, when we were just doing a piece on the men who made the season. And, it was like, okay, here's a guy kind of close to my age who, that's a nice little story this year. It wasn't the playoffs yet. And I had the same sort of introduction to Coach Belichick and Mr. Kraft and the entire Patriots organization. And just like the tuck rule changed their organization and their lives, it changed mine too, because all of a sudden this relationship and assignment that I had of telling the story of the Patriots turned into the most plum assignment you could ever get, as a filmmaker. Here, I was charged, as a new filmmaker, to do work with this team that wasn't very good, and it ended up that I had the greatest team of all time, greatest quarterback of all time, greatest coach of all time, and my life has changed for the better because of that kick and because of everything that happened. And the trust was earned many years ago, actually even before me, with Steve Sable. Steve Sable at NFL Films, I think everyone grew up knowing NFL Films does the right thing.
I remember when we met, it was at the Minneapolis Super Bowl, right, a couple of years ago, and you had talked about how difficult it was to make the two Bills 30 for 30, how you couldn't get Parcells and Belichick on at the same time, and they were kind of hemming and hawing about it, and I can understand that given how Bill is. Bill loves to talk about history. He loves to talk about football history. Was he willing easily to talk about this play, or was there still some hesitance on his part?
He's great in the film. He's exactly who you'd think he would be in this film. I mean, the guy doesn't change for the camera. There's no doubt about that. He's completely willing to talk about it, but he also doesn't understand what all the hoopla is all about. And he's very clear in his opinion that it's much ado about nothing, because the play didn't win the game. The play was ruled correctly. They still had to go down the field more. They still had to make the greatest kick in NFL history. They had to go down the field in overtime. They had to make another kick. They had to go to Pittsburgh and win with their then starting quarterback going down. They had to go to the Super Bowl and beat the Rams. And that's just to win that first Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
So in his opinion, he's like, there's a lot of plays in that game that could have changed everything. And he's right, because one thing we show in the film is that right before the tuck rule, there's multiple plays that could have ended the game just like the tuck rule. If you don't remember, and I certainly barely remember it as a Patriots fan, when the Raiders had the ball beforehand, they had a 3rd and 1, and had they converted a 3rd and 1 run by Zach Crockett, they would have been able to kneel on the ball and win the game. But they didn't convert. So they punted, and Troy Brown, while he's returning the punt, fumbles it. And it's luckily recovered by the Patriots. Yet another play that Troy Brown could have been, the GOAT, in the negative term for losing this game. And all of a sudden that play is forgotten. That otherwise would have been this huge play that was a fumbled punt return, because the tuck rule washed everything away. There were so many plays in that game that changed everything. It's really fascinating to watch.
Well, I'm fascinated by it. I'm looking forward to watching it again. It's called The Tuck Rule. It airs. It's 30 for 30, Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. on ESPN. You've got the ref from that game who made the call, Walt Coleman, on the 30 for 30. What is his disposition now about this whole thing?
Walt is frozen in time. He is 20 years later. He answers like an official in what I think is a deadpan, hilarious way. He's a retired official. He's a dairy farmer. He's just a plain-spoken guy from Arkansas, and there's no convincing him that the facts of the case are any different than they were. And his job in his mind was not to make a ruling. It was not to interpret anything. It was to, black and white, make the decision. Had the ball come all the way back and touched Brady's body, or had it not? Had nothing to do with where the arm was, where the ball was, that the rule that he was supposed to, interpret was just a black and white one. Did it happen or did it not happen? And the way he's deadpan about it, combined with the emotion coming out of the Raiders players and coming out of the Patriots players, Teddy Bruschi's just incredibly funny about this play. It's a real stark contrast, and he's a great addition to the film.
Well, Ken, I will get you out of here on this. 20 years later, do we as fans understand the tuck rule any better? I don't think I've ever seen it called since that night. I couldn't. We all, every time we see the arm going forward, we all scream tuck rule, and none of us know what it means. Do we understand it any better?
Here's what I understand. By rule, the play was an incomplete pass, but in spirit, it was a fumble. But in football, we go by the rules until the rules are changed to match the spirit. And everyone knows he wasn't passing the ball, but at that time, that was the rule. It was interpreted correctly, and you can hate the rule and say that the spirit of that rule was completely wrong, which is a really strong and great argument. But I think it's one of those rules that will forever be argued because everyone is right. It was correctly called, but in spirit, it obviously was not a fumble, and yet we live with the circumstances, and we live with the results, and the results were pretty great for the Patriots.
Yep, spoken like a true Patriots fan. That resonates well with us up here. So Ken Rogers, director of the Tuck Rule, Sunday night, ESPN, 8:30 p.m., the newest 30 for 30. I am pumped for it. Ken, you did great work on the two bills. I'm sure this is going to be a great project as well. You're one of the co-directors, and we thank you for the time.
I thank you for having me anytime.
Absolutely. I am so pumped for this. I am so pumped for this 30 for 30. I mean, of course I remember the tuck rule, right? 20 years ago in the snow, I remember the tuck rule. But I don't even remember some of the details that Ken was describing as we spoke there. Like, I didn't remember that Vinatieri had to kick 2 times in the snow. I barely remember the AFC title game that Brady got knocked out of and Bledsoe had to come in relief. I'm looking forward to reliving all of this. With the Patriots not in the actual Super Bowl, let's go back and relive how they got their first Super Bowl. So Sunday night, the tuck rule, 8:30 on ESPN. Ken Rogers, seriously, the 2 Bills was an awesome 30 for 30. So if that is indicative of Ken's work, this one's going to be incredible as well. So the tuck rule, Sunday night, the premiere on ESPN. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. We are cooking on Facebook Live. Thanks to everybody who is in there. We got Frank listening. We got Travis watching. We've got Anthony who's in there as well. The text line is humming. We will get the national news update from CBS News. And then, I know you're going to say I do this a lot, but I'm going to do it again. I'm going to complain about something that I know is stupid, but I have to do it. That's next on DEV.
96.1 WDEV FM Warren, 96.5 W243 AT Berry, 98.3 W252 CU Montpelier, AM 550 WDEV Waterbury.
This is CBS News on the Hour, your home for original reporting.
I'm Stacey Lynn in Washington. Former Vice President Mike Pence is hitting back at false claims by his former boss.
The former vice president told a crowd of conservative lawyers he had no authority to intervene in the counting of electoral college votes on January 6th while presiding over Congress.
And I heard this week that President Trump said I had the right to overturn the election. But President Trump is wrong.
It follows a statement released by Trump on Tuesday saying the House committee investigating the insurrection should instead probe why, quote, Pence did not send back the votes for recertification or approval. Trump has falsely insisted there was widespread voter fraud. Steve Dorsey, CBS News, Washington.
The Republican Party is censuring Representatives Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger for being part of the probe into the Capitol attack. Political analyst Larry Sabato says this is unprecedented.
It's really shocking to see a national party unanimously move in the direction of censorship. This is what Republicans often complain about, that we live in a society that cancels people with whom we disagree.
During a no-knock warrant, Minneapolis police officers shot 22-year-old Amir Locke. He was holding a gun while asleep on his couch when police entered and shot him to death. Locke's mother, Karen Wells.
Never would I have imagined that I would be standing up here talking about the execution of my son by the Minneapolis Police Department.
CBS's Linda Kenyon now with the latest on COVID.
Recent stats show cases nationwide have been plummeting from an average of more than 800,000 a day in mid-January to about 357,000 a day. Still, the nation's death toll has been closing in on 900,000. That's more than 2,400 a day. It's also the level of last winter when vaccinations were just getting started. Public health officials are signaling that the worst of the Omicron variant may be waning, but that new and dangerous variants could still emerge. Linda Kenyon, CBS News.
The flame was lit at the Olympic opening ceremony in Beijing. Our Steve Futterman is there.
What really made this special, though, was having people in the stands. It was unclear before the opening ceremony if people would be allowed inside. It's hard to say how many people were inside this 80,000-seat stadium, but at times it looked almost full.
The ceremony was filled with messages of peace and world unity. Markets closing the trading week mix. The Dow down 21 points, NASDAQ up 219. This is CBS News.
There's always something new under the sun. CBS Mornings, weekdays on CBS.
New Spicy Lovers Pizza from Pizza Hut is here. With spicy marinara, sliced red chilies, and a fiery blend of herbs and crushed red pepper, your taste buds will thank you after they've cooled down. New Spicy Lovers Pizza. No one out-pizzas the Hut. Product availability and prices may vary. Exclusions apply.
Would you like like a cleaning product that can be used in the garage, the laundry, and the kitchen, and save space in your cabinet? Hi, I'm Bruce Fabrizio, inventor of Simple Green. To learn more, visit us at simplegreen.com.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth. Step out of the car, please. I probably made a mistake.
Probably okay isn't okay when it comes to drinking and driving. If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend. Buzzed driving is drunk driving. A message brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Airline is playing Cupid just in time for Valentine's Day. CBS News correspondent Diane King Hall on who the matchmaker is.
Virgin Atlantic is getting in on the matchmaking game with its Ticket to Love sweepstakes. Single Americans looking for love with a Brit can enter by writing an essay on why they're fit for an international romance. 8 winners will get a round-trip flight next month and a stay at the Standard Hotel in London. The deadline to apply is February 13th.
Olympic athletes are sleeping a bit more comfortably this time around. Remember, at the Summer Games in Tokyo, athletes reported that their beds felt like cardboard. Well, Beijing has stepped it up, and Team USA is reporting the beds are much better with remote controls that adjust the sleeping position. They even have a zero-gravity mode and double-purpose plush pillows that actually turn into blankets. They're complete with the Olympic panda mascot on them. Stacy Lynn, CBS News.
The Brady Farkas Show now has an interactive text line, so reach out now at 802-585-3026.
This is Field Yates of ESPN, and you're listening to the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV Radio and the WDEV app.
Thank you very much, Field. Back at it here on this Friday on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line open, 802-585-3026. Facebook Live, welcome into all of you as well. We've got Travis and Frank who want me to rant about the baseball lockout. We actually are going to talk about the lockout coming up in about 20 minutes. That is not the thing that I'm going to stupidly complain about, though. I'm going to do that in about 30 seconds. Norwich hockey comes up at 6:35 with the pregame show. George Como and Craig Durham on the call, Cadets and Babson. Thanks to Ken Rogers, who just stopped by. And reminder, the podcast, both his interview and the full show podcast, available after the show on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Yeah, I need permission here to complain about something that I know is stupid. I shouldn't be complaining about it today, but I am. I really, really didn't need to see Mac Jones playing dodgeball last night at the Pro Bowl Skills Challenge. Yes, I feel like if I was in a crowd, I should be ducking right now so you can all throw tomatoes at me. I'm not trying to be not fun. I'm not trying to sound like I'm 110 years old. I did not need to see Mac Jones playing dodgeball last night. Did you see this at the Pro Bowl Skills Challenge? There were a bunch of competitions. There were passing competitions, team competitions. Mac threw a football a bunch of times, and it was all well and good. That's fine. I have no interest in the Pro Bowl game, but hey, the Pro Bowl stuff around the game was generally fun. I did not like seeing Mac Jones play dodgeball. I really wish he didn't participate in that. I don't need Mac Jones throwing things that are irregularly shaped and irregularly weighted. If Mac Jones is going to be the Patriots quarterback for the next 4 years and maybe beyond, I need him healthy. I need him healthy. And him whipping around a dodgeball is just a risk that I don't need. I know you're all thinking I'm the fun police. I know you're all thinking that it's not a big deal, but to me, it is a big deal. Is it likely that Mac Jones gets hurt throwing dodgeballs? No, it's not likely. But is it possible that he could get hurt? Yes. And that possibility is too much for me and my starting quarterback and my, at least in the medium term, my medium-term answer at the quarterback position. Shoulder, elbow, they're all in play when you talk about throwing a dodgeball. And when you talk about whipping it at the speed that those guys are capable of, then it's not worth the risk. By the way, throwing a dodgeball is also a far different motion than throwing a football, so different muscles are being used, and I don't need the risk. I just don't need the risk. If the wide receivers want to play dodgeball, great. If the DBs want to play dodgeball, fine. If the kicker wants to get in there, all for it. The quarterback, I'm good. My starting quarterback, my first-round pick, the guy that just took me to the playoffs and the guy that I'm reportedly going to count on for years to do it again, I'm good. I don't need to see it. I don't need to see it. I'm fully aware that you're all judging me out there, and I fully expect intern Jack to get all over me on social media about this, but it's not a risk that I need to take. I need Mac Jones healthy. Bob says don't watch it then on the text line. It's not about if I watch it or not. It's about that he did it. And I don't need Mac Jones getting hurt. Total side note. I went to a huge high school, right? Grew up in upstate New York, went to a huge high school. I graduated with 760 kids. I had 3,000 in my overall high school. Every year, every single year, we had this big, giant dodgeball tournament with like 20 different teams, and the teachers played and all that. And we weren't, as baseball players, we weren't allowed to play. In high school, we weren't allowed to play because we were told we might injure ourselves. So if high school coaches and administrators are thinking about it, then the NFL coaches and administrators and teams should be thinking about it. If I couldn't play dodgeball in high school because it was too much of a risk to my arm, then my quarterback making $1 million+ who needs to find a way to beat the Buffalo Bills next year and win me 12 games, he shouldn't be playing dodgeball either. Again, especially when the throwing motion is different than the one that he's used to. Now, let's take my medicine, I'm sure, on the text line and on Facebook Live. What have all of you got for me here? All right, text line comes in this way. Glenn in Charlotte. Come on, he's young, he'll be fine. Glenn, he probably will be fine. And yes, he is young. But that's not the point. That's not the point. The point to me is that this guy is now the most important player on my team. And outside of Belichick, he's the most important person in my organization. Whether I love Mac Jones or not, I need Mac Jones healthy. It's that simple. And I can't take an unnecessary risk with the most important player on my team, the leader in my locker room, and with a guy who's going to be the face of my franchise for at least the next several years. I can't do it. I can't do it. Do you remember the name Robert Edwards? I was thinking about this last night. Do you remember the name Robert Edwards? Robert Edwards was a first-round draft pick of the Patriots in the 1998 draft. He ran for 1,100 yards his first season in the NFL. He goes to the Pro Bowl. He plays in the NFL rookie flag football game at the Pro Bowl, blows out his knee, almost had his leg amputated, did not play football again until 2002, and never once again played for the Patriots. That's what I was thinking about it. I mean, so yeah, you would think that Robert Edwards, a professional running back, would be capable of playing flag football. He ended up blowing out his knee, almost had his leg amputated, never played for the Pats again. That's what I don't want Mac Jones to be. That Robert Edwards is a cautionary tale of Pro Bowl stuff gone bad. I don't need to take the risk with Mac Jones. And I saw Russell Wilson playing dodgeball. I saw Kirk Cousins playing dodgeball. I wouldn't let any of them play dodgeball. Those guys especially. Those guys are making $30+ million. The money thing is like the money thing would knock me out of wanting them to do it for those guys in addition to their importance. For Mac, it's just the importance. But my goodness. All I could think of last night when I saw Mac Jones throwing dodgeballs was Robert Edwards' knee. And it happened one time. That's one time too many. And it happened one time to me. Robert Kraft should remember that. I wouldn't want my starting quarterback doing that. Frank says, apparently Mac Jones is not a franchise quarterback for the Patriots. Look, whether I love Mac Jones or not, Mac Jones right now is the franchise quarterback. I don't have to love it. I don't have to think that they're going to beat the rest of the teams in the AFC with him, but right now, he's their guy. He's the guy that they're standing behind. I don't want Mac Jones getting injured unnecessarily. Another text, Napa Morrisville, Napa Waterbury text line. This one, Ron in Danby. Can the Patriots tell him what to do in the offseason? Good question. I mean, in this case, I imagine that they can't, frankly. So this is me complaining. They can't ban him from doing this. Let's put it that way. They could advise it. They could talk with him about it. They could ask him not to. Those are all things that I would have done. But no, they cannot ban him from it. It's not in his contract, I'm sure, to not go to Pro Bowl events. It's not in his contract, I'm sure, to not play dodgeball. And this is an NFL-sanctioned event. So they have to, quote, let him do it. But yes, contracts given to players by teams, they can legislate what guys do in the offseason. I mean, we see guys with clauses like no motorcycles. We see guys, no pickup basketball. I mean, remember Aaron Boone, the manager of the Yankees? He hurt himself badly playing basketball in the offseason. Could not do it anymore. I believe it was Ben Roethlisberger who got into a motorcycle accident, and then he had to, in his contract, no more motorcycles. So contracts can legislate what players can do. I just don't believe that Mac Jones could have this one legislated against now. I just wouldn't want him to do it if I were the Patriots. So when I saw it yesterday, I thought it was something completely unnecessary. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. I'm sure there are more texts coming in calling me a dinosaur, saying that I'm not fun. Go ahead, bring it on. I can take it. But this is a hill that I'm willing to die on, that Mac Jones should not be playing dodgeball. I want to totally transition. UVM men's basketball is going to play tomorrow. They're going to take on UMass Lowell. That's a 1 o'clock game at Lowell. Catamounts are looking to go to 10-0 inside league play. Aside from the game itself, there's something that I want to go back to that we started talking about on Wednesday. And the big issue for me with UVM is that the university has to figure out a way to get students to come to games. This team is excellent. This team could seriously go unbeaten inside conference play. When they play at home, UVM has to find a way to get students to go to the game. And I saw an interesting tweet, which is kind of what prompts this again for me. An interesting tweet from Travis. He says, students will come with long-term winning. Look at the major colleges with rabid fan bases. Why are they like that? Because of history and winning. It's been 17 years since UVM had a signature win. Their current students were in diapers. The crowd tends to be older and remembers the good old days. Travis, I don't think that's it. We all know that winning helps, right? If this team was ranked, if this team was a consistent Sweet 16 threat, then sure, the students would show up. We understand that. But this team, this program, has done a lot of winning over the last several years, and I've never noticed a strong student population at games. I don't think that that's just it. I think that UVM, the college itself, the athletic department itself, has to find a way to get the game day experience better. I think that that's what this comes down to. Winning, of course, is important. But the team is great. The game day experience is not. The environment is not. And I don't know if you all agree with me here. 802-585-3026. Anthony says, students don't want to wear masks indoors for that long with no food and water allowed, or with no food allowed, just a bottle of water. Anthony, they go to hockey games. They go to hockey games and the same rules apply. And they consistently go to hockey games every year, even though the hockey team hasn't been very good. So sure, the masking issue very well might be an issue a little bit this year. That doesn't account for every other year that I've been here and haven't noticed the student population be there, haven't noticed the students be present. The game day environment, to me, needs to get better. Number one, when the new building opens, when the Tarrant Center opens, I really hope there's a fully dedicated student section. Like, the students have underneath the baskets something. There's got to be a dedicated student section. Right now, the students are kind of off in the corner. They don't even have the best seats, and they're kind of just mixed in with the townspeople. And if I'm a college kid who's 19 and you want me to get rowdy, well, guess what? I don't want to be sitting one row over from a 62-year-old or one row over from a 4-year-old. I want to sit with my people. I want to sit with my kind. I want to sit with other college kids, and I want it to just be us. If you want the college kids to be rowdy and to provide the environment, and I promise you, everybody wants that. That's what makes college athletics great, is the student sections. Then the student section needs to be a major focal point. Give the students their own section and their ability to mingle amongst themselves and not be forced into a box with all of us. That's number one. And number two, once you do that, you've got to find a way to keep the students entertained and make it worth their while to come out. Look, the cheer and dance team, they're very fun, and they're very good, and they're necessary. But right now at UVM games, there's nothing other than that. That's not enough to make the game day experience great. Like, what is there to attract students? We talk about the gym itself being a glorified high school gym. The experience feels like a glorified high school experience to me also. On-court presentation, in-game entertainment, contests that bring students into the fold and onto the floor. I said this the other day, and I'll expand upon it now. I worked at UAlbany for 2 seasons. Men's basketball and football. I worked at UAlbany for 2 seasons. At every media timeout, I was out on the floor. Cheer and dance had their time, but every media timeout other than cheer and dance, I was out on the floor, and I was constantly doing something. There was relay races with knapsack races with little kids that were coming out there. For the students, I remember the kid had 30 seconds. We would do this every game. Kid would have 30 seconds to hit a layup, a free throw, a three-pointer, and a half-court shot. And if they could do that, they won free tuition for a semester. Every single home game at UAlbany, we did that. You couldn't do that at UVM and get some kids out there with a chance to hit a couple shots and try to win free tuition. Or, whatever, hit a free throw, hit 5 free throws in 30 seconds and win pizza. I don't know. But UVM has a bunch of sponsors that sponsor the college and sponsor the athletic department. They can't pony up something for a prize. Hey, if the kid can hit a free throw, a layup, and a 3 in 30 seconds, you're going to win a TV for your dorm room. And it's going to be provided by one of our sponsors. Those are things that would get kids to come out. Free food, free T-shirts, that always works. And in-game entertainment. Because I went to the game on Saturday against Maine, and there wasn't a whole lot there. And I love watching UVM. I'm going to watch on Saturday against UMass Lowell. And I've gone to my fair share of home games. And I have seen some games where the students have been there, but only for conference championships and for national TV games like the ones on ESPNU. Your run-of-the-mill game, I don't see the students there. You've got to find a way to get them there. You've got to find a way to get them there. And with your relationships in the community and with your community partners, I mean, that's what we're looking for. We're looking for a strong... This team is great. They deserve great support. This program has been great. Travis says it takes winning. They've won a lot in their own right already. You've got to find a way to get them the support from the students. The town is great. The town's people are great. I love that they go. I love that they're dedicated. Got to find a way to get the students there. That, and I promise you the players want that too. They want to be watched by their peers. They don't want their friends going to hockey games to see a team that's not as good as them. That's not as good as them. 802-585-3026. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. We do get a message in on Facebook Live that says hockey games have significantly decreased students this year. Also, it's half full at best this season. Again, this season, maybe the masking and all that has something to do with it. But this is not just a this season problem. I wouldn't be talking about it if it were a this season problem. I've been here for 6 seasons now. This is an every season problem. You've got to find a way to get the student population at games. All right. We do this every single day. Let's get to Who's Saying What.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. What did he say?
Mac Jones? Good Lord. Mel Kiper's got to slow down on this. Mac Jones ain't going to work, folks. It's not going to work. You just got to come to terms with it. It's not going to work.
They really said that?
Every damn thing is politics and race, and I'm losing my mind over it.
It's time for Who's Saying What on the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV AM, FM, and WDEVradio.com.
Who's Saying What is brought to you by Vermont Laser Wash. That's Central Vermont's home of unlimited car washes. That begins at only $20 a month. If you want unlimited car washes, $20 a month. If you want just one free car wash, well, just text the word Vermont to the number 30, followed by 400. Norwich hockey comes up here in about 10 minutes, and I'll leave the show today on this thought. There's nothing encouraging right now to say about baseball. There is nothing encouraging about this situation. Here's what we've got today. The MLB Players Association says they don't want a federal mediator. The players have taken to social media and said that the owners need to get back to the bargaining table. And so now we see some of the public comments coming out from the players. The owners aren't coming to the bargaining table. The players want them to. The players are active on social media. And we had Buster Olney of ESPN who told us this yesterday, and this just puts even more of a damper on everything for me. Buster, what do we got, and how do you feel about everything? Let's hear about the baseball nuclear option. Oh, here we go. There it is, Buster.
You know, the work stoppage goes on through March, and we get into April. Then what you're really looking at from the owner's side is the possibility of a nuclear option, where they essentially are going to, because they have the biggest pile of chips, essentially say, you know what? We don't like the union leadership. We can't make a deal with them. We can't seem to get anything constructive going. And these guys want to, not make a deal. Okay, we'll just sit and wait it out and effectively wait for the union to cave.
I just want baseball. I just want to go home after this show for 6 months and watch the Red Sox. You know, we talk about baseball, will they lose fans and people won't come back? That will happen to the sport. It won't happen to me. I'll watch the baseball season. I'm hooked. It's my favorite sport. It always has been. I'll watch it whether they play 162, 142, or 42. I'll watch it no matter what. I'm not going away. But I just want baseball. And the news constantly has either been no news or negative for the last several months. I'm just growing tired of it. This shouldn't be that difficult, but evidently it is. And to be honest with you, the players, they don't have that unreal of asks. Now, they got to understand they can't get everything back, but the owners got to understand that they got to give a little bit too. Here's what the players want. If you're confused by this whole thing, here's what the players want. The players want the youngest players in the league, the guys with 0 to 3 years in the league, they want them to make more money. This isn't about can Carlos Correa make $400 million instead of $350 million. This is about so that Joe, career minor leaguer who gets a call to the big leagues, can make $700,000 instead of $550. And I know you all think that baseball players are just sitting on gold bricks here, but that's not the case. The league minimum hasn't grown in several years, even as we see inflation has continued to rise. So the league minimum has been at a stalemate for a number of years. It deserves to be raised. And if it goes to the $700,000, look, how much of that goes to taxes and how much of it goes to agent fees and publicist fees and all of that. So I know we all think the players are spoiled brats, but that $700,000, even that wouldn't go to the length that we think it is. Yes, it's more than you and I make. They're doing better than we are, but it's not. That's easy for the owners to pay, and it would help the players at least stay consistent with inflation. The players are asking for the league minimum to go up. The players are asking for young players to be able to make money earlier. They're not asking for guys to make $500 million early. They're asking for guys to, in year 2 to make $1 million instead of the league minimum. This isn't that big an ask, and the owners can afford it. They're asking for, counter-tanking measures to be put in place. And as fans, we should all be for that too. Your favorite team should be trying to win. If you are an Orioles fan, are you having any fun over the last 4 years? If you're a Pirates fan, are you having fun right now? They're asking for some very reasonable things. And Buster's right. The owners can't afford to just wait them out. Eventually, players only get paid the season. So eventually, when guys aren't making money, they will crack. The owners absolutely could just wait them out. We saw it happen in hockey in 04-05. The owners waited them out, and we missed the whole season. I don't want that to happen to baseball. Please, get back to the bargaining table. Please, get this thing done, and please, both of you compromise. They both have elements of right. They both have things they should relent on a bit. By and large, I'm way more inside with the players here. I saw a stat today, something like players' salaries have grown, like the team payroll has grown 12% in the last decade. Team valuations have grown by 365% in the last decade or something like that. The owners are rolling in the money. They would have you believe they're not, but they are. The players should get a lot of what they're asking for. Please, let's get this thing done. Because I'll come back, but I don't know how many other people won't. It's the Brady Farkas Show on WDEV, AM and FM, and WDEVradio.com. The show brought to you in part by ProDriver Training. That's ProDriver Training online at ProDriverCDL.com. We're back at it on Monday. It's our kickoff of our Radio Row at home. The best guest list we have ever assembled. It's Super Bowl week. We're not in L.A., but we're bringing L.A. to you. The best guest list we have ever assembled. It's coming all next week. We will see you then. Norwich Hockey is next. George Como, Craig Durham on the call. Cadets and Babson. That's next on DEV.
I'm probably okay to have one more drink before I drive home. I'm probably okay. I open the window to stay alert. Probably okay. I just popped some gum in my mouth. Step out of the car, please.